Welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are doing well. It's 2022. We made it. And what better way to kick off the year with a fresh, new, soul-loving video. Let's go. We're at the Changdeokgung Palace. Yes, I'm so happy because right now there's nobody. It's really nice, actually. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. And we're doing something pretty cool today. I've been wanting to do this for a while. It's the reason I wanted to come out today, despite how cold it is. We were able to get some tickets, so let's go ahead inside and show you what we're doing today. See you guys inside the palace. All right, guys, we're inside Changdeokgung Palace. Wow, I can't tell you how amazing it is to be here on, well, officially New Year's Day. There's no one here. It's really nice, but we got something special in store for you guys, which I will tell you in a little bit. First, I just wanted to go over the palace. This is the secondary palace after Gyeongbokgung. This was also built during the Joseon Dynasty, but from what I read and saw, this palace was more favored or more adored for all the kings that lived here, mostly because of the beauty and the topography of the area. So also from what I read, the building style is slightly different from that of Gyeongbokgung, mostly because they built these buildings to kind of fit with the nature and beauty around the area, as opposed to just on top of the land that they chose. And much like all palaces, this is not an original palace. This is just one that has been reconstructed. So as we're walking to our destination, let's just take a quick tour and then we'll see what we're actually doing today inside of the palace. Welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed that quick little tour of the palace. We're still inside the palace, of course, and you can wander around the palace and check around Changdeokgung Palace if you'd like. It's a wonderful place to come. It's about 3,000 won per person to enter, but there's one main reason why people come to Changdeokgung Palace. That is, you can see this little pathway, the Secret Garden. Secret Garden was a place that was built by the kings, of course, and the reason that this place is so special is that this was closed off to basically only the king. Only the king can go in there and let anyone in there if they wanted. Basically, it served as a place of rest for the kings and anyone that the king invited. It was a very beautiful, it is a very beautiful area with a pond, many trees that were planted there, and some of which are about 300 years old. Some of them have remained since this place was built. And this recently opened up in, I think, 2012 to the public, if I'm correct about that. Mostly because they were working on a restoration project before then to try and make it as close as possible to what the original looked like. Now, today, you can only go in the Secret Garden via tour. You're not actually allowed to go in there just by entering the palace. You have to book a tour online and then come here, show them your ticket, and then they'll give you a physical copy of the ticket to go inside. And these are guided tours. I think they only have 2 times. One is at 10:30 in the morning and one is 2:30 in the afternoon. They have a couple for foreigners and then a couple for Korean. Now, the interesting thing to note here is that if you're booking a foreign tour, you cannot have more than 2 Korean people with you. I believe it might be the same for the Korean tour. They do this because they want to kind of limit the space to the individuals that should be on that tour. The foreigner tour is English, Korean, only Korean. So you can book the tour. It's 70 minutes, I believe, in like the harshest weathers, which is very cold weather like today, and very hot weather in summer, and then 90 minutes during the normal kind of good weather. Now, the Secret Garden, as I said, it's a guided tour, so we're going to have the guide tell us all about the Secret Garden before. I have personally been here already, the Secret Garden as well as the palace. This was the first palace I visited when I came to Korea, but I wanted to show the Secret Garden to all of you who maybe might not be able to make it, or anyone who's traveling who hasn't had the time to book the Secret Garden. This will be for you guys. And from the looks of it, there's like no one here. I don't know how many people are supposed to be on this tour, but it's almost 10:30, so we might actually have the tour guide to ourselves and be able to ask a lot of questions about the palace as well as the Secret Garden, because I do not know much. All right, guys, we're about to start, so let's go inside. All right, so we had a bit of a history lesson at the beginning. The tour guide was explaining a little bit about the palace. So as a brief explanation for all of you, the palace is about 110 acres long, or big, sorry, not long. And the Secret Garden takes up 2/3 of it. So when you come to Changdeokgung Palace, you do not want to miss out on coming to the Secret Garden. The Secret Garden has also had numerous names throughout the years. One of the most popular being the Royal Garden. That's what people used to know it as. Only recently was it changed to the Secret Garden. The Secret Garden, as I stated earlier, was mostly for the kings. And when they built this, they wanted to preserve it as nature as possible. They wanted to basically minimize the amount of human touch and keep it as close as possible to nature, bring man back to nature. And this was built kind of around the mountain or at the bottom of the mountain. So as opposed to like a normal garden, it feels like walking through a forest, as you guys can maybe see. And we are visiting 4 places today. Normally there is 5, but because one is closed off for today. So let's keep going. All right, guys, we're at the first stop. Believe it or not, what you can see here is actually a pond. It has been frozen over, which is really cool. One of the other guys commented it looked like concrete, and I have to agree. It doesn't even look like water. When I first came here, it was summertime, so it actually was water. But just a couple facts around this little area. So this island that you guys can see here, this little round island in this square pond, they symbolize it as the circle is supposed to be the air or the sky, and the square is supposed to be land. So they wanted to that's what they used to believe, so they wanted to harmonize that with this pond. As well, over here you can see this building, which was designed to be as a lotus shape as well as a human being. You can see that this bottom part here are supposed to be the legs, head at the top, kind of harmonized with the land and the sky. So when they built this structure, they wanted to have as much harmony as possible to their beliefs. Now over here as well, we have this 2-story building with 3 gates in front. The 2-story building was created by the 22nd king And Korea had 27 kings in total over a course of 500 years. The 22nd king built this. It was used as a kind of a place to store deceased kings' belongings, some artifacts like paintings and things like that. And it was also used as a kind of temple as well on the first of the 2 floors. Now the 3 gates that you see here, this is the entrance that they used. The big one was for the king, and then the 2 on the side were the for the officials that would accompany him. The gate is called the Fish and Water Gate because they believe that just like fish and water, the king and the people are inseparable. And then we have this last building here that will actually go ahead and get a closer look here. This building was just mostly served as the leisure. So they might come over here and take a break and maybe look at the pond, have some drinks, chat, and relax. So let's take a little walk around the area and get a closer look at everything. So you can see this during the summertime might have been one of the nicest places to be, because imagine just sitting in the middle here and then having that view of the pond with the mountain in the background. Let's try to get closer to the 3 gates maybe. I think what is really nice is being able to see this pond frozen as it is right now. Now, I mean, it's cool to see the pond as it is, but it's really unique to be able to see it frozen like this. I really like that. I find it funny how this is called the Fish and Water Gate, and they're inseparable as fish and water. But they didn't build like a bigger gate for the officials. The king still has to have the biggest gate. Even this building too, going up there and then having the view from down here or from up there. Oh, now that the sun is hitting it, it does actually look more like ice on this side. You can see the water a little bit from here. Oh, there is very, very, very cool. I like this first stop. Well, we're about to go on to our next stop, so see you guys in a little bit. So you guys can see this kind of like garden area. This is the area that they would hold like archery competitions and festivals and events. It doesn't seem as big, but that's because that wall that you guys see over there, it didn't used to be there actually. This was built by the 9th king, I believe is what she said. And there's another palace on the other side of the wall. The other palace name is Changdeokgung. You can see the kind of white building, the botanical garden that they have over here. This other palace, the Changdeokgung, was also built as a secondary palace. What they mean by secondary palace is just in case anything happened to the main palace, they had another palace to move to. Now, there was a moment in time where the 3 kings from that were saying one in Gyeongbokgung, this palace, and the Changdeokgung Palace passed away. The 3 queens that were left were moved to the Changdeokgung Palace because the Gyeongbokgung Palace could not hold all of them, including the new king and children. So, it's some fun facts for you guys. Alright, we're going to our 3rd place. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, over here we have the lovely Lotus Pond, as well as the lovely Lotus Pavilion, and English translation. They give a brief explanation that why is it called lovely, even though that the lotus is beautiful but grows in murky water. They referred it to as the gentleman should uphold his standards even during like difficult times, remain his good nature, his beauty during difficult times, which I found was pretty cool. And then we have this stone gate over here, which the most fascinating thing about it, which is that the whole stone was actually carved in one go. The stone was like, it's not actually like, you can see that the stone was not like joined together. It's all cut from one rock. And the gate refers to the longevity gate because they wanted the king to, live long and prosper, basically. We're going to go ahead and inside in a little bit, and we're going to check out two buildings that are in there. Back here we have the two buildings that you can see. This is kind of where the king would come and meditate and maybe study, because he had the tranquility of the pond in front. And you can see back there at the top of the hill, the building behind is also where the library was. It's very nice, just kind of peaceful and relaxing area. We kind of just see over the wall a little bit. Yeah, I like this part. The last pond was pretty cool, but this area is a lot cooler, I think. All right, let's keep moving on. They referred us to the pavilion again, and you can see the two rocks next to it. The two rocks are like natural rocks or nature rocks. These are just big rocks that they would pick up and place in their homes or in front of the palace. And the reason they did this was because they believed that these were like mountain stones or represent the mountain, which represented peace, so that these rocks would bring peace or keep peace for them, and it had a natural beauty to them. So it's kind of nice. I like that nice little touch. Wish you told us that a little bit earlier. But still, very nice. Let's keep going with our tour. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I very much like this area of the palace. This is by far my favorite palace, mostly because of the garden. We have our next monument here, which is a 400-year-old mulberry tree. It's very, very old. But mulberry trees had a significance here because the mulberry trees, they'd use the leaves to feed the silkworms. The reason for that being is that the silkworm industry and the rice farming industry was very, very important during the Joseon Dynasty. It was their main source of income and money that they were getting. So around that time, they planted, I think they said 1,000 mulberry trees around the palace, mostly for the silkworm and for the representation it held for Korea and the economy. Now the thing is though, usually keeping mulberry trees this old is not recommended because the leaves get smaller and the acorn or the fruit that they give are not as good for the silkworms. So they usually chop them down before it gets that old. But I guess it's very cool that there's still a mulberry tree that is 400 years old that is standing. And yeah, I like that. Let's keep walking to our next destination. We're very close, I assume. I can see some pavilions. All right, we have our next stop. So over here we have the fan-shaped pavilion, which is very unique. And they mentioned that a lot of this palace might have changed. That being so, the Joseon Dynasty was over 500, or exactly 500 years. And in the 500 years, a lot of the buildings may have been changed, upscaled, downscaled, removed, moved, or added to throughout anywhere, not just this palace. Or destroyed, of course. For case in point, this pond over here, they mentioned that it used to be 2 or 3 different ponds that were separated. And I think that the thing that she mentioned that was very cool and very unique is that now we can see this one pond, right? This one pond, actually, from text, it seemed to have been formed around the same time that Korea was unified. So it kind of looks like the Korean Peninsula, which is, I don't know, very cool to me that like they might have had this nice little touch. And of course, because just like we are in winter again, it is frozen, but still very, very unique. And over here we have this hexagonal pavilion with this double layered roof, which is very cool. I like it. Not too much significance other than the white boards that you can see with the Chinese characters, which, if some of you may or may not know, the Chinese characters were primarily used for the longest time until King Sejong gave the Hangul alphabet for the people. So Hangul was used publicly by the commoners and informal areas, but Chinese characters was still used in primarily the formal areas, such as the palace. I may be giving a lot of information for you guys, but please, I hope it's all because we have an excellent tour guide that is explaining everything. She didn't explain much about the pavilion. Maybe we'll come up over here and she'll explain something about it. I'm not sure if there is any significance to this, but I wanted to come up here. Again, you can see these big kind of rocks, mountain rocks, which are very, very cool. And this pavilion is very nice. It's a standalone pavilion. Kind of top, and we can see the fan pavilion down there. Have a nice view of the pond. Also, I don't know if you guys can see it through the trees, but the water that has been frozen that normally is flowing is very cool as well. Oh. All right, let's keep going on to our next destination. All right, so we are in the next quarter here. These are meant to look like the nobleman housing or Nobleman Quarters. So in this area that we are in, this is where the men would have resided. And then on the other side of this gate over here is where the women would have resided. And then on this opposite gate is where the servants would have resided. Now, no one actually lived here because this is the garden. It just kind of meant to look like a residence, and this was mostly used as a banquet hall. Everywhere in the secret garden is for recreation mainly. No one actually really lived in this area. Now, if you guys remember from our Changdeokgung Palace, we talked about the ondul system, or the fire system that they use for heating, and we got more explanation. So this is where they would create the fire, this kind of gaping hole here. And the fire, or the hot floor, was only used for the paper floors. So there's a tunnel system underneath this building where the fire would be created in that little cavern, and hot air would be transported through the bottom of the floor. Now, over here you can see there's wooden flooring. There would be no hot air underneath this wooden flooring. It'd only be under the paper flooring here. Now, the way they did this was that you can see these cross-shaped holes which lead to ventilation of the wooden area. But underneath the paper one, there's no ventilation. The smoke would then be let out through the chimney that you can see back there, that little white and black tiled chimney. That's how they would keep warm during the winter months, this hot air system, which I still think is one of the most amazing systems that they've ever created. This kind of hot air for the floor, and then they would use hot water to then, or water to just then stop the fire when they needed to. So we're just going to walk around, check out the different quarters. As I said, they are mostly the same, just separation from gender. All right, we are walking back toward the main gate, or to the exit. These long stairs for the journey. But I hope you guys have been enjoying so far the tour of the Secret Garden. It's, like I said, probably one of my favorite palaces because of the Secret Garden. This place is absolutely a must-do when you're in Korea. I think the best thing to do really is to come during all the seasons. Winter season's very nice. Summer season's very cool. I would like to come here in the fall as well. It might be very nice. And maybe we'll come back in spring. All right, guys, our last little mini stop. We have this juniper tree, which is 750 years old. Dang, that's an old tree. But there's a few couple characteristics which are really cool. The top here, if you guys can see it, if the sun's not blinding you, kind of looks like an elephant, actually. And then over here, it's got two animals living here. We have a monkey face, is what she explained. I don't see it too much, but maybe if I stare at it long enough, I'll see the monkey face. Or maybe you guys see it. But this juniper tree actually used to stand very tall, but after the typhoon in 2010, it was damaged and is kind of in the shape it is now, and they had to chop off the top as well. But we have this unique look now because of it. But also, the wood is what they used to use for incense. They used to chop off bits and pieces to use as incense whenever they were feeling stressful or they needed to relax, because the juniper tree has a very strong smell. So we're going to go ahead and walk towards the exit and kind of film our last little bit and say goodbye to the secret garden. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a very nice tour, especially because there wasn't a lot of people, so that was kind of nice. All right, guys, we're back at the entrance. As you can see over here, we're back at the main gate. This is where it takes us. The front of the palace is actually, it's not very big. It's pretty much what I showed you, the little walking tour over there, and when we came back from over this side over here. The front of the palace is not very big. The most important thing to see is the secret garden. So I think paying just to see the palace it's okay, but what's really important is that you want to go ahead and see the secret garden. Now, as I said, you have to book this in advance. The tickets are 5,000 won per person. You can book for multiple people if you'd like. You don't have to each book your own ticket. But as I said, the tours depend on foreign or Korean, on how many people you can bring with you. And the tour is about an hour long. It's very nice. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. It was very, very fun. I liked it. I could give you guys some history lessons around that because of our wonderful tour guide, and it's very pretty, as you can see. I really liked it. So big thanks to all of you. Hope you guys are having an amazing new year so far. I know it's only about maybe 1 or 2 days in, but I wish you guys the best for this new year, the year of the tiger. I'm not a tiger, but I mean, tigers are cool. Anyways, thank you again for the support and the love. Probably gonna have a really cool video for our anniversary of the Soul Lovin' channel. I haven't decided yet, but I hope you guys looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. I wouldn't be able to do this without your guys' support. So I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, stay warm. Happy New Year once again, and thank you so much. Bye, guys.